A military doctor who works at JBLM is accused of sexually assaulting dozens of patients. Today, he was meant to be in a military courtroom, but instead waived his appearance, opening up the chance that a commander could soon make the call on whether he'll face a court-martial.
Fox 13's Matthew Smith reports this case comes as the military is attempting to overhaul its entire justice system.
By December, Major Stockin, the accused in this case, would be treated very differently by the military justice system. But those changes will actually have the biggest impact on sexual assault survivors, all thanks to victims of previous crimes who've been at the forefront of overhauling what many are calling a broken system.
There's a huge stigma in the military about reporting sexual assault. People don't come forward because the chances of justice are very slim.
Josh Connolly is the VP of Protect Our Defenders. For years, he worked up on Capitol Hill, and during that time, he grew a passion for helping survivors of sexual violence in the military. His group scored a big win this year. President Biden signing off on the biggest change to the military justice system in decades, putting charging decisions for 11 major offenses, including sex assault, rape, and domestic violence, into the hands of independent prosecutors, rather than victims' superiors, which could make them targets for retaliation.
The assailant was often someone in the survivor's chain of command. The same chain of command responsible for deciding the case.
Making sure the commanders aren't making legal decisions has been a big effort of ours, and making the justice system look a lot more like the civilian system.
Of course, the change hasn't happened overnight. Behind these Madigan gates at JBLM lies the hospital where dozens of men have stepped up and faced that traditional chain of command while accusing Major Michael Stockin of sexually assaulting them during his time in the military. When asked this week whether victims were being sought at other military installations Stockin worked at, I was told the Army does not comment on ongoing investigations. It's a concern for lawyers representing many of these victims.
I'm deeply worried that there are survivors out there, that there are men who sacrifice and put themselves and their families at risk to protect our country, and that we're not taking the necessary steps to protect them.
And yet, even when changes take root, there's an even larger concern. The military as a whole is protected from lawsuits thanks to something called the Ferris Doctrine. Essentially, it stops people from suing the military.
If we were able to sue the military for negligence in regards to sexual assault and harassment, and they were having to pay billions of dollars, like any institution or company would if they maintained a similar climate, I think that would really increase their vigilance in regards to harassment or assault.
Protect Our Defenders estimates there are 25,000 to 30,000 sexual assaults in the military each and every year, men, women, teens. A fraction of those, a few hundred, actually lead to convictions. Now, as for our local case unfolding now, experts tell Fox 13 they expect Major Stockin to face a court-martial in the coming weeks. His case now being compared to Larry Nassar in terms of how this was a position of power that he was in and the sheer number of victims. Now, Fox 13 has been in contact with Stockin's lawyer. We do expect to hear more from them as this case unfolds.